Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Swag Master Sway. When it comes to wrestling, I've always got something to say. Victoriously. Well, what do we have here? We have another old school WWE versus modern WWE recording. Yes. Once again, I'm taking my dog for a run because it's like while I'm running and I'm taking the dog for a walk. No, he's running. Sorry, I'm walking, taking the dog for a run. You know, sometimes I don't feel inspired to do these videos, but then when I start, I enjoy it anyway. So it gives me something to do. Edge versus Seth Rollins. Who do I think is better? In which way are they inferior to each other? And in which way are they superior to each other? And which athlete performer is the overall superior performer athlete? Let's start off with the rated R superstar, Edge. One of the many villains that when I say many, I'm talking about, there's about 10 or so that I really hated. I hated the character, and because he was winning all these championships when I was a teenager, all that Lita stuff and all that stuff, all the storylines when they make the character look bad, or good. It was all happening when I was still, under the influence. You're still influenceable, you're starting to think for yourself as a teenager, or even a bit earlier, but you still have some level of influence coming upon you, and it gets less and less over time until the day you die. We gain freedom. So Edge, the rated R superstar, for many years the king of the spear. When I was like a teenager, he's king of the spear because you forget about Goldberg doing it, but then it's like, well, it doesn't really matter over time. But then you grow up and it does matter actually. The execution. See, I came up with this finisher for my character, Swag Master, because a Swag Master was introducing, and I had totally forgot about the execution, and I came up with this thing, lift the two arms up, grab them by the trunks, lift them up like a double arm TDT and then come down. And I'll be like, yes! But I had totally forgotten that Edge had used it. Oh. Execution. I love the work that Edge did with leaders. They did it so well. They made you believe it was so believable. But obviously they would have been, in my opinion, they would have been at least acquaintances by then, if not friends again. So yeah, I do think that he had great storylines. Storylines of Seth Rollins, I think it was kind of predictable for me, because by the time I'd been watching it, I was watching the Shield stories, I could predict that they were going to break up soon. Only because, how many factions had I seen broken up in the past when I was a teenager. Now I'm in my mid-20s when the Shield got together, and then they split up when I was in my late 20s. So I kind of saw it coming from a mile away. Would I have seen it as a teenager? I don't know. Because we would have been exposed to a lot more, because these types of things happened a lot less often when I was younger. Things changed up a bit. A lot, actually. Seth Rollins, master of the stir, curb stomp, and the pedigree. I like Edge's finishes better than Seth Rollins. Character-wise, I was brought up with Edge, so there's something in me that just likes Edge better. But Seth Rollins is the man for this generation. I am this generation because I still enjoy the wrestling. I'll search it up and watch the highlights, and if there's a good match that I thought, man, I haven't seen that before, or haven't seen it in ages and I want to watch it, then I'll actually watch that match as well. It's just not just the highlights, I search up on YouTube. And I'm really enjoying this whole one scene they did with Seth Rollins in the past week. It's one of the greatest scenes I've seen Seth Rollins in a few years. Like, I wasn't a fan of the Shield because they were attacking established stars that I've been watching for years. But, that's what happens, and you come to love them later on. And different times you think certain ones are better. Never really was a Seth fan, but when it's all storytelling. And then you look back and you appreciate the fact, and you realise the fact why Seth turned and all that type of thing. And so, it's all part of the development of the stories. As the apostleship, they had this big picture of him like he was a saint, like how the old churches had like saints and stuff, and I just loved that. I thought that was so cool. Because if you're playing the role of a character in that character's world, this is a real combat sport. I know it's all predetermined and choreographed, but there is a lot of physicality to it, and it's based upon real moves. And your character that you're portraying, he is in that world. You're acting out a character who has just been through it. If you're pretending you got hit over the head by a steel chair, your character actually did get hit by a steel chair, because your character is in that storyline, it's in that creative, it's in everything. And so your character goes by what's written. So your character did get hit in the head with the steel chair, and you're acting that out on behalf of your character. That's my opinion of it all. Seth Rollins, he's a multi-time WWE champion, so if someone was like that in any sport, in any position, there would become a certain amount of arrogance. Maybe not to that extent, but some people would be that arrogant. And he's playing the role phenomenally, so this is actually props to the person. Because WWE is a show and they dedicate their lives to it, I know what it says on Google and all that type of thing, but whether his name is Seth Rollins or not in real life, big mad props to the person playing Seth Rollins, or if his real name is Seth Rollins, big props to you. You're doing a fantastic job. I mean, if someone was a multi-time world champion in their sport, which is what you're portraying, was what he's portraying, depends watching. I just like to, just in case, because I know that a lot of wrestlers get a lot of arsehole jealous people making all these. That's what happens when you get really successful in certain areas. I've been working minimum pay rate jobs, but now I've got jobs that are all over the place, not more freedom. I'm planning to head off overseas, and all of a sudden these people that were being not really nice to me but treating me normally are all of a sudden being haters. So I understand how much it would be at that level, And I've always believed it, but I've accepted it and cherished it. The fact that might is right, which means that inequality is a lie, and so we are equal, but the equality that they teach today is a lie. And that equality that they teach today is, this person had the same opportunity as me, and he went hard out and he busted his ass and he put his full effort in and he succeeded, and I went out there and I busted my ass, I put my full effort in and I failed, and so therefore that's not fair. That's not fair. And then they will say like, maybe like, let's say there's a rugby player trying to go for a try line or something, or like again, if you were watching it, it's America, so it's not our version of American football, but it's our combat sport, and we got a team and stuff like that, and it's just like you guys American football, except for we've only got 15 on each side. So if you step out of bounds, it's a handover. And I've been playing this little Madden game on my phone. It's just a stoppage. Now, let's just say one player might step 1 foot over the line, and that goes on to be a try, which is 5 points in New Zealand. And you get a kick afterwards, and if you kick the kick over, it's 7 points. We don't get to have a throwing conversion thing. Now, that team who have been busting their ass training hard for the past few months to come out and start their season off well, past couple of months, and let's say they've been playing the last year, go up against another team that's been putting the same amount of effort in. And that team gets beaten by Seth Rollins' team by 25 or 27 points. So the other team points back to that one incident where Seth Rollins stepped over the sideline and that gave them 5, maybe 7 points because the ref missed it. And say, see, that's why we lost. But failure is a huge part of life, and people can't handle the jandle. They don't realise that certain people are just absolutely gifted. Everyone's gifted in certain areas, and you're blessed, and you're really blessed if you're gifted in areas that you enjoy. So by means of trial and failure and success, we find out what we're naturally good at. And we milk it, and that's how we find success. Now, some people don't want to do that. They fail a couple of times and then they start pointing the finger. So they see someone like Seth Rollins or someone like that and say, blah, blah, blah. Equality is a lie, and you should be the equality we teach today. Yes, you have equal opportunity. You have the same opportunity as the Seth Rollins or Edge or whoever else has. But the fact of the matter is, if they are naturally gifted in that area and you're not, and you work really hard and they work just as hard, they've got that natural ability. That's going to give them that little upper edge. Unless they don't work hard, but they work hard. And it's a matter of finding out where you're successful at and adapting so that you can succeed. Sorry, we went off track there. So yeah, anyway, mad props to Edge and Seth Rollins. Lita, she played her role really well. Again, I don't know how true it was. I know it was based upon stuff, but I don't know how the films were at the time. But Lita, man, good props to you. Well done. Hope you're living a blessed life, whatever you're doing. And to all the haters out there, just trial by error, succeed and fail, and then once you find out what you're really good at, don't be like me in my early 20s that said I should be successful at everything, so I'm going to focus on my weaknesses. Didn't take until my late 20s, which I am now 31, didn't take until my late 20s before I decided I'm going to focus on my strengths. So that's the key. Learn to love it. So, bless them. Yes. Apart from the finishes, I'd have to say, well, today's, whether you realise it or not, because you don't feel the same way about it because of the crowd reaction and all that type of thing. If you actually watch the skills and performance in the ring, all the main event superstars who were doing all their moves, they were way ahead of their time 20 years ago in the Attitude Era and the Ruthless Aggression Era. All of those moves can be done by every single one of the performers and are just part of their basic move set now. So as an evolution of time, whether the crowd has turned to shit, in my opinion, they've not as much into it. Whether it's because they're overly entertained. Because I remember when I was watching it, when we were at high school, YouTube didn't even come out until I had already graduated high school. So there was no YouTube. There was no like recording all this stuff. There was no Facebook. In New Zealand, we didn't even know what Facebook was. We had other stuff, but they're nowhere near to the quality of Facebook or anything like that. So my personal opinion is because there's so much entertainment that when we get entertained through the WWE, we've been entertained every single day at any time we want because of, and that's a really good thing. But at the same time, it's not like when we get entertained by these superstars coming out and doing all this stuff, it's not like the entertainment that we've received for the past 3 days and then we follow up that entertainment by watching a sports game in the weekend of our local teams or our country. We're inundated with it everywhere. Anyhow, I think that even though the crowd's reaction is next to nothing these days in comparison to what it used to be, I think that Seth Rollins' actual in-ring ability, apart from the finishes, are better than Edge's, but Edge's got better finishes. Promo, I think they're just as good as each other. They're totally different styles, so it's not fair to compare them to each other. I have compared promos of other wrestlers, but for some reason I think they're just as good as each other. Entrances, I personally prefer Edge's better. He slides into the ring, all that type of thing. You think you know me? Hello, how are you? Storylines, which character is more intelligent than the other? I honestly think that they've got about the same level of intelligence. Seth is wise to not. I think the character Seth Rollins now has learnt from his mistakes from turning on his brothers in the Shield. But the character would have also benefited from it because there was 3 brutes in the field that were all heavyweights, all going for the same title, the WWE Championship. I know there's the United States Championship and Intercontinental Championship, but it's only a matter of time. Like if that was a real sport, yeah, they will keep you satisfied for a while, but then it's like the second biggest title of the brand, and now you've been holding the second biggest title of that brand for some time, and your best friend is holding the title, and you start thinking, when am I going to get to hold the title? And then that causes the friction. So, just like in life, we learn over time. I think the character of Seth Rollins has learnt to make alliances with those where they can help each other, and they all have their own goals to meet, such as like the cruiserweight contenders going for the cruiserweight title. That would be Buddy Murphy, AOP, our tag team, so they want the tag team championship. Seth Rollins is in the heavyweight division, so he can go after the heavyweight title, or they call it Universal title or WWE Championship. They can all help each other meet each other's ends like a team and not worry about their ends not being met and having someone else getting further in the division, and also worry about those stabbing them in the back. Now I know that in my opinion, in real life they would probably just be really happy to receive big paychecks and to sell out all the buildings and all that type of thing with the character, and selling heaps of merchandise and making heaps of money and living a blessed life off what they love to do. But the character they'll be portraying will be natural, because the character they're portraying is going after the title and he's not friends with the others. So I think they were both just as revolutionary in their own time. I think that if the Edge character was portrayed today, it wouldn't be anywhere near successful as it was back then. But maybe it would have been, because maybe there wouldn't have been another Edge who done all that type of thing. I don't know. Back in time. But they're both superstars and legends in their own right. But for nostalgic sake and for memory's sake, I'd have to say that I have a lot more memories with Edge. So That's why I like Edge better. So, but who's actually the best? They're pretty even in my opinion. Alright guys, I'm going to switch back to Swagmaster Sway. So, I have been training as a wrestler, taking a rest right now, just reevaluating my life, but I'm coming back to the Sway. So the Swagmaster's only got one more thing left to say as you sway my way, because I might have to carry on the streak just like I started last week, and I'm going to make my opponent leak, and then he's going to feel weak, and when he sees the blood, his confidence will turn to mud. I will strut like a stud. So don't be so rushful to be coming my way. Just get out the way for Swagmaster Sway. And he's encouraging you to live victoriously. D-Man Victorious, signing out.